UConn's depth looks strong with Azzi Fudd leading the way in her homecoming. You're locked up.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, just want to take a moment to say how thankful we are for all of you. This podcast has grown so much, and it's because of fans like you who value great UConn content. Thank you so much to the fans like you that have made this show a top show on the network and something that we really can't pay you back with other than gratitude and support. So we're actually proud to give a little something back. We're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project, helping send kids to UConn games. We're also proud to say we're the only daily podcast covering UConn men's and women's basketball, the hoops capital of the world. We're thrilled to bring you that coverage because you deserve it. So today's episode is sponsored by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. And if you're enjoying the show, take a moment to subscribe, follow, leave a review wherever you listen. Thanks again for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. All right. A balanced team effort in the D.C. area. UConn's 73-55 victory over Georgetown was a showcase of depth and resilience as UConn is without their leading scorer and star, Paige Bueckers, but they continued a strong season led by Azzi Fudd and her stellar performance in her long-awaited return to her hometown. The Huskies maintained their control over the Big East while balancing contributions from their starting lineups and bench players. Azzi is back, and for 4 years, Azzi Fudd waited for the opportunity to play in front of a hometown crowd in Arlington, Virginia. On Saturday, she finally got her chance, and she delivered. Fudd scored a team-high 21 points, shooting an efficient 8 for 13 from the field and 5 for 8 from beyond the arc. She had 5 three-pointers, accounted for half of UConn's three-pointers of the day, and her 9 fourth-quarter points sealed the deal for the Huskies. Despite some early jitters, Fudd found her rhythm. She didn't attempt a shot in the first 5 minutes, but not going with the layup midway through the first quarter. From there, she built a consistent performance, scoring in every quarter and excelling from deep in the second half. Gino was impressed. He recognized the moment was significant for Fudd, who was surrounded by family, friends, and fans. He noted her nervousness and but praised her ability to settle in and shine. Azzi's Azzi, Ariama said. She's really fun to watch. The support in the stands was palpable. Fudd acknowledged the importance of the night, sharing how special it was to see many familiar faces. And I can't imagine what that's like. I mean, I understand it, but not at that level. Having played professional sports, like it's awesome when your family and friends are there to cheer you on, or you get a crowd on your side. There's nothing quite like that in any sport, whether you're a individual sport like I was or a team sport like Azzi is. There's few things that really mirror that feeling and that effect that it has on your game and kind of the emotion that it gives you, the extra adrenaline. And hopefully as time goes on, I think part of that is not only because Azzi is such an amazing player, but people, she resonates with them. People have been down before and they come back, and everyone who doesn't love a comeback story. So someone who hasn't needed to come back is Sarah Strong. She is, she continues to impress. Let's put it that way. She is as dominant as ever. Scored, she played 36 minutes, posted a double-double, 16 points, or close to a double-double, 16 points, 9 rebounds, dishing out 6 assists. So her continued all-around game is as consistent as anybody, and the impact that she has on both ends of the floor, they're on another level. I don't think you can really verbalize how strong she is in terms of both offensively and defensively. That's not even a pun. I'm not even playing on the words of her last name, but she is just so incredibly consistent for someone that's barely 19 years old. And she's showing an ability to lead alongside the veterans like Azzi, and that sets the tone for UConn. The starting lineup delivered across the board. Jenna Elfie provided 6 rebounds and 4 blocks, really anchoring the defense in the paint, which was great. Ashlyn Shade showed some really good contributions at 12 points, including 2 3-pointers, while contributing 7 rebounds. That's huge from the guard position. Caitlin Chen chipped in 6 points, facilitated the offense effectively. I've been saying that her ability to just kind of keep everything on an even keel is where everything needs to be. So we'll get into the depth and kind of who's chipping in, who isn't, in terms of the freshmen with Morgan and Allie and others coming up after the break. But UConn starters combined for 61 points, outpacing Georgetown's entire output, controlling the game's tempo from start to finish. They were down by 1 at the end of the first quarter. Notably, when we had T. Baker on last Friday, he talked about how Georgetown's coaching staff has been through a ton, having their coach last year pass away, their new head coach essentially keeping everything afloat and really doing a great job of having this team play hard no matter what. And that was evident in this game. They really do not give up, and it's good to play teams like that, even if they're not as talented as you, because it just shows you to not take the foot off the accelerator. And I don't think UConn did. I thought Georgetown played well in the first quarter, and then UConn just kind of started to chip away and made this game almost a 20-point win. So kudos to the Hoyas for keeping it close initially, and then for UConn, obviously, to take control in the third and fourth quarters. So with that, we'll take a quick break and come back after this. This message is from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes, we're dealing with piles of paperwork and frustrating forms, and then waiting and wondering about if we're going to get any money back. Now Taxes is easily uploaded your forms to a TurboTax expert who's matched to your unique tax situation. An expert who's backed by the latest technology with cross-checks, millions of data points for 100% accuracy. While they work on your taxes, you get real-time updates on their progress. And you get the most money back guaranteed. All while you go about your day. No stressing, no worrying, no waiting. Now, this is taxes done right. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app, Apple. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, you're back on Locked On UConn. Second segment of the program. Look, at UConn's depth has been talked about all year ad nauseum, from me and others, either in the media or written in text or in articles on the beat. And I think what you're seeing look, you have plenty of people who think that this team still needs certain people to step up. I felt like before we get into specific players, if we look at the box score, we'll recap. Obviously, the leading scorers of the game were Azzi, then followed by Sarah and Ashlyn with 21, 16, and 12, respectively. And then the rest is just kind of a potpourri of little contributions, right? KK Arnold, perfect off the bench, 22 points, 3 for 3 from the floor, hit a 3, had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. I think it might be outside of the 15-point homecoming win at Marquette. For her, I think that might be her best all-around performance, just from like a glue person, the one person that you want to be scrappy and as Gino calls her, the TikTok menace on defense. I thought she played well. You had Allie give you 10 minutes off the bench. She didn't hit a 3, but she was 1 of 3, had a rebound and an assist, 2 points, but only played 10 minutes. That's appropriate for what she was done. If she hit all 3 of her threes or 2 of her threes, she might have played more. Morgan Cheli gave you 22 minutes, kind of in that guard forward spot, 2 of 3 from the floor, had 5 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists at 6'2". Really happy that she's getting on the boards there. And then, as I mentioned, Gianna Elfie with 4 blocks. That's huge for them. Ashlyn, how about Ashlyn Shade getting on the rebounding action? 7 rebounds from her, 7 rebounds from Ashlyn, 5 rebounds from KK Arnold. Or don't let that, just blow by, right? That's 12 rebounds from 2 guards that are not very tall, but showing heart, right? And I think that's something. And I know it's against Georgetown. I know it's a Big East game, and I know the Big East isn't strong this year, but Georgetown plays hard, and to get these rebounds, you have to work. So happy for that. The Huskies shot an impressive 53.4% from the field. We're just under 40% from three-point range at 38.5%, with contributions coming from across the roster. They dominated the boards with 39 rebounds, shared the ball well. 19 assists on 31 field goals is pretty damn good. Defensively, UConn forced 11 turnovers while committing just 7, maintaining control on both ends of the floor. I think Gino is very encouraged by the team's balanced performance, particularly the contributions off the bench from KK and Morgan. And especially without Paige in the lineup, Huskies demonstrated that ability to rely on different players to step up. And I think there's going to be different people that step up each game. It's not just going to be Morgan. It's not just going to be Allie. Maybe Cadence gets a little more run next game when they play St. John's on Wednesday, or KK Arnold maybe doubles up her scoring next week, and Azzi scores less, or maybe they all go crazy like they did against Iowa State. So Oriama's quote is, "Everyone's figuring out their role, and that's what we want to see. We're still a work in progress, but nights like this show what we're capable of." So that's really important for him to understand. This is obviously without Paige to go on the road and win by 20 is pretty impressive. UConn's depth will be critical as the team prepares for tougher challenges ahead. I think there's going to be some resistance in the St. John's game. I do believe it's at home. Double check that. Could be wrong, but let's check the trusty schedule here. It is at St. John's, so in Queens. That's always a tough place to play. Then the next stretch of games, you play at St. John's, at Seton Hall versus Villanova. I think UConn probably expects Paige back the Seton Hall game, so she's going to miss Xavier, Georgetown, St. John's. That's my guess. Maybe they hold her out till the next time we play Villanova, or all the way out until we go play Creighton and Omaha. I don't know. So I mean, it's really just a matter of Paige's ability to push off that knee and not have any issues and feel comfortable. So we'll get word on that and let you guys know. But this win over Georgetown was kind of another confidence victory, not a conference victory, a confidence victory. And what I mean by that is because, I don't think Gino's ever felt more comfortable playing a ton of players, in particular now that he has Azzi and Sarah back fully healthy, right? Azzi fully healthy, Sarah playing as strong as any freshman in the country, if not the best freshman in the country. He's got a little something with Morgan working where she can come off the bench for 22 minutes and give you 5 points and 7 rebounds. Has an ace in the hole, and Allie Zabel that can shoot threes. That kind of thing. So adding Paige to the mix again here in about a week or so is just going to make this team. I can't wait to see what it looks like for like a stretch, like a 5 to 7 game stretch of them with Paige, with Sarah, with Azzi, Morgan, Allie, KK coming off the bench, Ashlyn firing on all cylinders. It's going to be those elements that will strengthen that push to kind of key towards another deep postseason run and heading into those heavyweight matchups against the Tennessees and the South Carolinas of the world. So we're going to take a quick break and then take a look around women's college basketball coming up after this. Attending the new 12-team college football playoff, the games have to be incredible, and that brings fans together like never before. Right now, we have Ohio State and Notre Dame getting ready to square off in the national championship. Got to have a lot of fans excited about that. I'm excited. It's a good game. Gametime has an amazing new feature called Gametime Picks that helps you find tickets even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you the best deals on great seats, saving you time and effort by cutting through the noise. When it comes to getting tickets for the best events, I've already started planning on how I can use Gametime to set my parents up with amazing seats for the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden in the middle of March, especially since they've lived so close. They're a train right away. These games are unforgettable, and the idea of watching them live is something I'm excited to make happen for family members. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, y'all. Last segment of the program. When it comes to this segment, I'm going to do this a lot with my good friend T. Baker. I'm going to do this a little bit with Bella T, who's going to be our Monday and Wednesday co-host. She's got a doctor's appointment today, so she's out sick. Not sick, but she's going to do something. So, for me, I love this because all of this, everything that happens around college basketball right now affects UConn, both on the women's and men's side. So, what I wanted to do with this segment in particular was, if we had a women's college basketball awards right now, who would win what, and also kind of talk about some headlines that are happening in the women's game right now. So when it comes to this year's NCAA basketball awards and tournament, the conversation is kind of all over the place. There's not one team or one player that you can point to. Last year, obviously, Caitlin Clark dominated the Player of the Year race. She dominated the hearts and minds of the country. Obviously not to UConn fans, but you get what I'm saying. But this season, it's completely different. It's more competitive. It's like watching four, race cars racing towards the same station. The competition at the top makes it even more exciting for fans, right? And UConn's right in the mix. At the heart of the race, though, are kind of the best. I would say the best four players in women's college basketball today are Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, Juju Watkins from USC, Paige Bueckers from UConn, and Lauren Betts from UCLA. And if anyone's listening and goes, but Mark, didn't you just do a show like a month ago saying that if Sarah Strong was available to be the number one pick in the draft, you'd take her? Yes, and I still stand by that statement. I'm talking about best players in college basketball today. Sarah Strong might be the most impactful college basketball player, because if it was just Paige and everybody else on the UConn team and minus Sarah Strong and she was playing for somebody else, we are not even sniffing a national championship. We may get to the Final Four with Azzi and Paige and a host of others, but Sarah's ability and her upside are so incredible that that's a show in itself for another day. But we're talking about who's going to win awards, who's like the rising star, who's the dominant sophomore, things of that nature right now. Okay. So Hannah Hidalgo, she's taken her game to new heights, and Notre Dame is 5-0 in the ACC. She's second in the nation in scoring and steals. She is a dual threat, two-way player, both ends of the floor. Her game against USC, where she went head-to-head with Juju and led her team to a decisive win, was one of a few statement performances. Her shooting efficiency, 50.4% from the field and 46% from three, is elite. Hidalgo's ability to step up in big games like the 29-point performance against UConn puts her ahead of everybody in terms of player of the year. If you had to vote today, I think you have to go Hannah Hidalgo for player of the year. And I think did she have 30 against us? I feel like I wrote 29 down, but I think she had 29. I thought she had 30, but that's a minor detail. 1 point here or there. My thing with Hannah is, to talk about it, frankly, in terms of like UConn, if we do play them again in the Elite Eight or the Final Four or wherever, you have to be more physical with her. I think you have to put taller players on her. If you want to put Kiki on her for a little bit of time, fine. I think the fact that Azzi's back, that Sarah would be healthy, maybe you throw Paige on her to kind of but the only problem with having Paige on someone like Hannah, who's like constantly going around screens and really kind of taking her defender on like a journey, whether she's on the ball or off, and most of the time she's on, it tires you out for the other side of the floor. Like, for example, when Notre Dame said, all right, Sonia Citron, who's a really good scorer for them, probably 17, 18 a game. She only scored 7 points that game. You want to know why? Is because she was glued to Paige Bueckers, grabbing the jersey, getting away with stuff. And I'm not saying that because I feel like she cheated. I'm saying that this is what you do. When you play a good player, you do anything you can. One of the best players in the country, or the best player in the country, you do everything you can that you can get away with to try to stop them. And Sonia Citron did most of that. I mean, Paige still had 25 points, but it was a hard-earned 25 points, and some of it was in garbage time. So if they do face Hannah again, I got to see multiple combinations. KK, I got to see even, hell, give Morgan Cheli a shot and get that 6'2" guard, big guard frame, and see if she can keep her distance and not let her shoot a million threes because of the 6'2" frame. And if she goes by you, oh well, twos are less than threes, and you got to let a 5'6" person finish at the rim when you have Janelle Elfie down there and Sarah Strong down there to help you out. So that would be my That would be my keys to success if we ever face Hannah Hidalgo, who will likely be the player of the year this year. Another one close, I think second would be Juju Watkins. She really hasn't missed a beat. She's third in scoring nationally. She continues to improve her defensive playmaking. And I've said this on the show before. Even though she's not a facilitator per se, her presence alone is what gets her teams open looks, because she is such a dominant scorer that people have to respect her no matter where she is on the floor. So you're always kind of like ball and man anyway. But now when you have Juju, it's like ball and like your head starts to turn, and then all of a sudden you leave your woman open and she makes a three or she gets a layup, whatever. So there's certain players like that. I would say Caitlin Clark was like that last year, who she's constantly looking to score, that the other team is constantly looking to help, and it leads to open looks for other players. Paige Bueckers, obviously, she's a legend, guys. She's, her last year, she is, she's not the current favorite to win player of the year. Her efficiency is through the roof. I think there's a faction of UConn fans that wish she was more like Juju or Hannah or even Caitlin before her, so that she would be more of a score first guard, but she's not. She's had amazing outings against Ole Miss, North Carolina. She played well against USC and Notre Dame. She just didn't have the help on her side. But as everyone gets healthy, she is clearly has an opportunity, if she comes back and has a dominant last 10 or 15 games, to maybe steal the award. I don't know. We'll see. If they go beat Tennessee and South Carolina on the road and she has monster performances, maybe that changes everyone's tune a little bit. Then you have Lauren Betts, who is at UCLA, number one team in the country, beat South Carolina, ended their streak. She is a, dominant both on the offensive and defensive side in the paint. She's the backbone of her program, and they've long kind of like hovered on that playoff contention, but now she is solely in the mix, or not solely, but they are definitely in the mix for Final Four and potentially winning a national champion this year. And it's because Lauren Betts is that good defensively and offensively. As freshman of the year, no brainer, Sarah Strong, 17.5 points, 57% shooting, averaging 8 rebounds, almost 3 steals, and a 1.2 blocks per game, and playing superstar minutes because she's an absolute superstar right now. She's already being compared to Brianna Stewart and Maya Moore. Praise that I don't think is out of bounds. And, she's got the type of versatility that Gino loves and that I love. And honestly, Sarah's good. If you gave Sarah a little more leash and she was scoring 23, 24 points a game, she'd be solely in the mix as the best player in the country. That's how good she could be. I think right now the coach of the year has to be Niele Ivey from Notre Dame. I'm probably saying her name wrong. I apologize. Corey Close might be a close second at UCLA, but those two are essentially neck and neck, I think, for the national coach of the year. And then I want to say this. Again, referencing my conversation with T. Baker the other day on Friday. We both talked about how Ashlyn Watkins was a huge loss for South Carolina. South Carolina dominant over Texas over the weekend, despite losing Ashlyn Watkins to a torn ACL. They were unbelievable, shooting 71% from the first half, showcasing incredible chemistry and the edge that defined Dawn Staley's teams. They're proving right now to everybody. That was a message sent. That Texas was ranked number 5 in the country and playing well. That this season, in terms of their candidacy for a national championship, is long, but over. They are right in the mix. And so they may not have the one player that's vying for these awards that we just talked about, but man, Dawn Staley's team is going to be rough to play. I'm looking forward to that game, February 16th at South Carolina. So the season's race for awards kind of reflects essentially what we already know about this women's basketball, just around the country, is that there's a ton of really good teams. There's some really fierce competition, and I think it's going to be an unforgettable NCAA tournament because it's only going to get better and better, and I just want everyone to get healthy so everyone's at their fullest possible potential. So there's no, you beat such and such a team without their best player. That's not what we want, and that's hopefully what we're going to get in the in the Final Four in the NCAA tournament, is some healthy, really solid teams to hopefully challenge UConn and see if we can get that elusive 12th national championship. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm Mark Zanetto, asking you to stay locked on, stay connected, and to remember it's not just about getting it done, it's about doing it in a way it can't be done any better. That's our goal every day. Don't forget, go Huskies.